Good evening. Thanks for joining us for WSKG's live debate between the candidates running for Binghamton Mayor. I'm News Director Phoebe Taylor-Vuolo.
And I'm WSKG's Binghamton area reporter Celia Clark.
We're live from our digital studio in Vestal with the two candidates running for the seat, incumbent Republican Mayor Jared Kraham and Democratic challenger Miles Burnett.
This will be a civil debate of issues. The candidates will have up to 2 minutes to respond to a question and 30 seconds for any follow-up questions and rebuttals. After all the questions, each candidate will have 2 minutes to give a closing statement.
Celia and I have developed some of the questions and chosen the topics. Listeners have also submitted questions for the candidates online. Neither candidate has been shown the topics or the questions in advance. Before we begin, we'll give each candidate 2 minutes to introduce themselves and talk a bit about why they're running for mayor.
Mayor Jared Kraham won the coin toss earlier to determine who would go first. So, Mr. Kraham.
Good evening, and I really want to thank the voters watching at home. Thanks to WSKG for hosting this really important debate. When I think about why I ran for mayor in the first place and why I'm running for re-election, Lyndon Johnson's Great Society comes to mind. He said, signing landmark legislation in the 1960s, that every person in America deserves to live in a home of dignity, a neighborhood of pride, a community of opportunity, and a city of promise and hope. These last 4 years as mayor, I've been working to deliver results for residents and having meaningful and measurable track record delivering those results for residents. We've taken a lot of strides in public safety, in housing, in neighborhood quality of life, and affordability. I'm a mayor with experience. I have a track record that matters. And we've also worked across party lines to deliver bipartisan balanced budgets, working with state and local leaders of all parties to get things done. I think that residents look at the chaos that's happening in Washington, sometimes the dysfunction in Albany, and want an alternative. And I believe that America's mayors can be that alternative. And as mayor, I've been working on being a problem solver, worried more about my neighbor than political parties. I'm asking for another 4 years so we can continue the momentum that we've seen, again, in public safety and housing and affordability, and also take on those 21st century challenges that will determine the next decades of the city of Binghamton's future. I am the lone candidate in this race that has the experience and qualifications to take on those challenges, to deliver the change that Binghamton very desperately needs. And I'm really excited to talk about the issues tonight, have a spirited debate, and really compare track records with my opponent. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Burnett.
Thank you, Phoebe, and thank you, Celia, and thank you to WSKG for hosting this debate tonight so that we can have a conversation about the issues that matter most to the people of Binghamton. A little bit about myself. My name is Miles Burnett, and I'm proud to be the Democratic and Working Families Party candidate for mayor here in the city of Binghamton. I grew up on the south side in a large family filled with nurses, teachers, firefighters, police officers, people who gave me the values of public service and told me the importance of looking out for your community. And I've carried those values with me throughout my life and into my professional career. I started out as a community organizer focused on social justice and environmental justice initiatives. I then went on to work at the New York City Council on budget and finance measures and community relations initiatives, delivering critical resources for underserved communities. I then went on to be the executive director of a nonprofit organization that focused on small businesses and economic development projects. And then I was the deputy chief of staff for our incredible local state senator, fighting hard for the working families right here in the Southern Tier. But when I think about why I got into this race, I have to say the real reason is because I am fed up. So many of the challenges that I saw growing up here remain challenges that we're facing today. We have 33% of our community living in poverty. Almost 400 Binghamton City school children are homeless as we talk here tonight. And all this while student property owners snatch up all our available properties and push people out and make the city more unaffordable. That's why I'm fighting to tackle the housing crisis, strengthening public safety, champion our small businesses, and expand our youth services. I think it's time, with the chaos in Washington, for mayors to be more than managers. We need to be fighters and protectors and stand up for working families. And I look forward to building a better Binghamton for everyone.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to questions.
The report on former police chief Joseph Zukoski came out last week. It found that he violated numerous city and police department policies. The report came to, quote, the inescapable conclusion that Chief Zukoski's conduct was unbecoming of someone serving as chief of the Binghamton Police Department, end quote. He was chief for 17 years, and viewers can read details and the full report at wskg.org. But we've got questions. The report says Chief Zukoski wiped his city-issued mobile devices and attempted to interfere with a criminal investigation into his girlfriend. Do you think Zukoski deserves his full pension and benefits? And do you think he should face charges for those actions? Mr. Burnett, you're first.
Well, I think what we saw in the videotape involving Chief Zukoski's girlfriend and himself was very troubling. And I think it also, after seeing the investigation and the report from it, left us with more questions than answers. I think that we are seeing, as my opponent says, that the mayor is the commissioner of public safety in the city of Binghamton. And I think that there needs to be real ownership by this administration for their failure to administer proper oversight of Chief Zukoski in the department. I think that it's a lack of leadership that has allowed this to happen. We are seeing that, the report has said that he had an unregistered gun in City Hall. Well, if any employee had that in City Hall, they would be facing more than just the ability to resign. They would possibly be held to criminal charges. I think that the City Council is doing the right thing in putting forth a resolution to study how this investigation was done and see if it was conducted properly. And I support them looking into this with the fullest extent of the law, because I think that nobody should be above the law, including the police chief.
Thank you.
So just to kind of go through what happened here, when I was made aware that this video had surfaced, I immediately brought together the city's city attorney and placed Chief Zukoski, former Chief Zukoski, on leave. I also spearheaded to make sure that we hired an outside legal counsel, someone with impeccable credentials beyond reproach, to conduct an independent investigation. And I also said I'd release that investigation to the public, and so it would be known widely. The results of that investigation only come to one conclusion, that Chief Zukoski could no longer serve as Chief of Police for the Binghamton Police Department. As it relates to criminal charges or other investigations, that's why we made it public. It was sent to the DA's office of Broome County. Certainly it's been available for anyone who wants to see. But Mr. Zukoski's service with the city of Binghamton is over. That matter, at least within City Hall, has come to a close. As it relates to who's eligible for a pension or not, those are parameters that are set by state law. I believe that result in felony convictions. So what I was able to do as mayor and as commissioner of public safety is take immediate action, investigate the situation, hold the folks accountable that were doing wrong in this situation, and release that report transparently to the public. You will not find an individual in Binghamton politics that supports law enforcement and the men and women of the Binghamton Police Department more than me. You will also not find anyone who holds our police officers, including the chief, to a higher standard than I have. And the chief's conduct was completely unbecoming of being chief, and especially his actions in the aftermath of that incident. We took swift action to investigate it. That investigation was complete, and the chief has resigned as part of it. He will be decertified as a police officer in the state of New York.
Thank you.
I would like to respond.
I'll give you a 30-second rebuttal.
Thank you. Again, I think we are being left with more questions here. I mean, we were told just now that it was going to be handled swiftly. It took over 80 days for this investigation to be made public. I think that what we are all wondering is, how long did this administration have the report before Chief Zukoski resigned? Was Chief Zukoski given the option of resigning or being fired knowing the findings of this report? And really, why isn't the city really pursuing the actions that would be taken against any other city employee and that there seems to be privilege in this instance.
That's all the time you have. Would you like a 30-second rebuttal?
Yeah, there's really no different treatment. The report was released as soon as it was finalized. I do not, as mayor, make determinations about criminal charges against folks, nor would any mayor or any member of city council. The report progressed as it needed to progress, and also included interviews or attempted interviews with folks that are not city employees that were not able to dictate the timeline on that. And so whether it's this or any other police disciplinary matter, this administration has been transparent, straightforward with the public, and this incident is no different.
Thank you.
This is also about the police department. There's a perception by a segment of the population that the Binghamton Police Department operated in a culture of racism under Zukoski's leadership. What would you do to make sure the next police chief does not reinforce that culture?
And we'll start with Mr. Kraham.
Yeah, I'm going to challenge that assumption. I'm not sure what that's based on. I think that the police department, we have outstanding men and women in our police department. We also have historically done studies, and there's a report that's available that has to do with this Binghamton Police Departments from years ago, but I'm not sure that that's backed up by any data or any evidence. What I will say is that the Binghamton Police Department, the men and women who serve, are outstanding leaders in public safety. These are the men and women that are making sure that when we tuck our kids in at night and when you lock the door, that our city is protected. I'm honored to have the endorsement of the Binghamton Police Union, the men and women that are tasked with making sure that our city is safe. And let's be clear, public safety is the #1 issue in this race. That those men and women believe strongly that I am the only qualified candidate. When you are mayor, you are commissioner of public safety. You have to be ultimately responsible for the lives of the citizens of the city of Binghamton, not just the police department. The fire union has endorsed me as well. Binghamton's first responders believe that Jared Kraham is the key to a strong public safety future in the city of Binghamton. And we have done amazing things to improve the number of officers we have on the force, to recruit and retain the best of the best. Crime is down in the city of Binghamton. We had some of the lowest crime rates ever during my administration. That's what will continue in the city of Binghamton. I'm really proud of the men and women who choose to serve in one of the most difficult and challenging jobs there is in America.
Thank you. Mr. Burnett.
And thank you for the question. I think we still did not get an answer about when that report was received. Were the findings discussed with Police Chief Zukoski, and was he given the option to resign rather than be fired based on the findings of that report? That would have been proper leadership, to hold him accountable for the findings of that report. You talk about the issues that people are speaking about that they're hearing in the police department. I've heard from folks in the police department that there is a low morale there. And I think it's because they are not being empowered by this city's leadership right now. I think that in terms of what you were talking about earlier, there should be more diversity, equity, and inclusion education provided for all of our city workers so that they understand the issues regarding race within City Hall, and making sure that we're looking at the diversity measures within City Hall. In terms of public safety, my plan is to put more resources towards recruiting, retaining, and promoting our first responders. My opponent has been in office for 4 years, and we still have multiple vacant positions within the police department. I think that that is a lack of leadership there. I think that for me, it's important that we are looking at public safety in a holistic way. That's why my plan is to create multiple positions of mental health specialists within the city's workforce to address nonviolent emergencies and help people in mental health crises. And I also believe that it's important that we are passing legislation to prevent city workers from cooperating with ICE and keeping our city's data free from being foiled by ICE. I think that is what holistic leadership and a holistic approach to public safety looks like, and that is how I will lead as mayor.
Thank you.
Are we going to
Rebuttal?
take a little tech pause?
Maybe we can reset the clocks for the candidates.
Okay.
In the meantime, I'll let you both know when
you.
your time is
Okay,
up.
We'll give
so
you
I
a
can do the
30-second.
rebuttal.
30-second
Okay.
rebuttal. Yep.
So, City of Binghamton police officers working with mental health professionals is a program that already exists. It's a partnership with Broome County and MHAS and is going to be expanded as we head into 2026, based a lot on my advocacy and the county's wish to expand that program. Again, I will reiterate that Binghamton's police officers, the people that are tasked with performing public safety, have said that Miles Burnett is not qualified to be Commissioner of Public Safety. He has no public safety track record. He's never stepped foot inside the Binghamton Police Department, and is not someone who can lead our city as it relates to public safety.
Okay.
We've delivered
That's
reductions
30
in violent crime as well.
That's 30 seconds. Thank you.
Again, my opponent is asserting things he does not know. I have stepped foot in the Binghamton Police Department before, and I've had great conversations with our men and women on the force. So I encourage people to not listen to rhetoric here today. Again, we did not get an answer of when that investigation was received by City Hall into Chief Zukoski, and was he given the option to resign rather than be fired and be held accountable, as the investigation clearly stated should be the way it was handled. Again, we're not getting real answers here. We're just getting touting of support. Mental health is an important issue,
That's
and to
30
value it
seconds.
now is a little too late, frankly. We need to address
We need
this.
to move
Thank
on.
you.
Thank you. Moving on to the next question. A video was released in September of you, Mr. Burnett, when you were a teenager, using racial slurs and derogatory language. This question is also for both candidates. Neither of you used the moment to talk about the racial disparities that some Binghamton residents face daily. Talk now about what you would do to reduce those disparities. And we're going to start with Mr. Burnett.
Thank you for the question. I'd like to address that video. And I would like to say that I'm sorry. The words that I used at that time in my life were unacceptable. They were unacceptable then, and they're unacceptable now. I see that video and I see someone who doesn't understand what I understand now about systemic racism and the way that words can be harmful, whether that's your intent or not. We have to do a deep look at what racism looks like in our community. And the words used in that video are racist. But I have done a lot of growing since that time. I have been working in many spaces that have taught me a lot about what racism is. It is not just overt acts, but it is words used that harm people. And the words used in that video did harm people. And for that, I am deeply sorry. I do believe that this video coming out has facilitated a conversation about race that is so desperately needed in our community. We have not seen this administration tackle many of the issues of racism within our schools, within City Hall, within our different departments. And I think that going forward, as the next mayor of Binghamton, it'll be a priority of mine to make sure that we are putting resources in place and trainings in place so that everyone understands how racism is deeply entrenched in many of the systems that we currently have. We need to address who is at the decision-making table. For so long, the same voices have been kept out of the decision-making process. That is part of why I'm running for mayor, because we cannot continue to have the same people sitting around the table making decisions for people without mixing it up. We need to bring people together and be listening to voices from across our community to put forth solutions and hear ideas. That's how I'm going to govern, by bringing people together
That's all the
and
time you
listening
have.
to them.
Thank you. Mr. Kraham.
Sure. So what my opponent said in the apology, I think, was very sincere, and I think that it was a lot better tonight than initially when the video came out. And so I think that voters should accept that and take him at his word tonight. I think as we look at whether it's racism in communities, whether it's racism in America, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we do not have proactive leaders in place, right? We do not have folks that are looking at how do we improve every neighborhood in a city. right? I talked about LBJ and neighborhoods of pride and communities of opportunity. Too often, and this is the case in Binghamton as it is in cities across America, black home ownership is lower than white home ownership. Poverty rates are different. So when we talk about really transforming neighborhoods and giving people ladders into the middle class, we have to be thinking about that sometimes that messaging doesn't always need to come from a guy that looks like me, but we need to have more people in positions, whether it's in the police department, whether it's in working on housing issues, that can connect better with whether it's Binghamton's black community or other minority groups that exist in the city. I think we should be focusing on traditionally minority majority neighborhoods to transform them. They're deserving of investment. We're lucky in Binghamton that we don't have some of the issues that like are in Syracuse, where 81 racially segregated that city in such an extreme way. But of course we have disparities. Of course we have differences that we need to address. I think that when we talk about growing opportunities for all Binghamton residents, that means all Binghamton residents. We're so great. It's so great that Binghamton has a diverse community. It's important we invest in all of those constituencies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would
A
like
listener-
to respond to that.
Oh,
I'll give you
Yes.
30 seconds.
I acknowledge many of the things that Mr. Kraham said today are reality, but I don't believe that the administration he is leading is addressing those disparities. I think about the Southern Door Community Land Trust, which this administration gave not the proper funding it deserved. And you're talking about addressing housing inequities in the city of Binghamton. Well, I could think of no better way than to invest in our only black community land trust run community land trust here in the city of Binghamton. I wouldn't be giving them reimbursable grants
That's 30
and everyone
seconds.
else just getting funding.
Thank you.
That's an inequity.
Well, I think my track record working with a diversity of organizations is very clear. We've developed an unbelievably strong relationship with the Harriet Tubman Center at Binghamton University to grow the Freedom Trail and really confront racism head on with real stories and academics that are leading the country. We're also working with an organization called CARES, a black-led organization that provides not just backpacks and school resources before the school year, but does advocacy year-round to change educational outcomes for black children in Binghamton.
Thank you. We'll move on to some questions about housing.
Actually, about housing, yeah. A listener asked, what's your plan to address homelessness in Binghamton? And we'll start with Mr. Kraham.
Sure. Homelessness in Binghamton, again, like cities all across America, has grown post-pandemic. It is a two-part problem. We have certainly a shortage of safe, quality, affordable housing. Housing has become more expensive since the pandemic. Housing has become more scarce since the pandemic. We also have mental health and substance use disorder issues that both inflame homelessness and make it so someone doesn't just need a home or a place to live, but needs wraparound support services to truly make them successful. So as mayor, my track record on housing is very, very clear. We have hundreds and hundreds of units of affordable housing that are going to be opening very, very soon in the city, are under construction right now or are in the project pipeline. Binghamton was the first municipality in New York State to be named a governor's pro-housing community, and we are proud of that, and we have a great track record as it relates to housing. As it relates to issues of substance use or mental health needs that folks experiencing homelessness undoubtedly require, as I mentioned, we are expanding mental health resources in partnership with Broome County. The City of Binghamton funds an intensive care navigator with one of our addiction services agencies to make sure that folks that are leaving short-term detox make their way into long-term treatment. But what we need above all are more resources from the state and federal government to face this issue. Cities like Binghamton, the urban cores of our country, are dealing with homelessness in a way not seen in many, many decades. The federal government has to make it a priority, and that's why I was so upset and angry with the Trump administration when they called for the elimination of community development block grants and this ridiculous shutdown that they're weaponizing departments like housing and urban development for political means. the leaders of this country will be mayors. We need support from the federal government.
Thank you. Mr. Burnett.
Yes, as I said in my opening statements, I don't believe that mayors can just be managers. We have to be fighters and protectors, and that includes for our homeless community. Under this administration, over the past 7 years, we have seen homelessness increase by 300% in the city of Binghamton. As I already stated, as we are talking right now, there are almost 400 Binghamton City school children that are homeless. There has not been meaningful investments in mental health services, and there has been nothing but attacks from this administration on homeless people in their living situations. I think of just a few weeks ago when this administration threatened legal action against the Christ Church, who is just trying to fulfill their mission of helping those in need. It is unacceptable how things are going in this city right now, but it's not unexplainable. It's because this administration has closed down all the single room occupancy units in this city, has allowed student housing to take over and push people out and make this city more unaffordable while not building at the same rate more deeply affordable housing units, while not bringing online emergency shelters, actually working hard to prevent them from coming into place. And I just think when you don't take a proactive approach and don't put mental health services in place and allow the city to become more unaffordable, you're going to get that result. It's no shock. What it is, it's a lack of leadership, and it's a lack of political will to stand up for those who are most in need in our community. That is why we need to elect a new leader that has bold vision and creative solutions to tackle our biggest issues, and homelessness is one of those issues.
Thank you.
Look, I do not believe for the safety of the people living there or the safety of the people in downtown that a downtown commercial district is a place for a homeless encampment. We had human waste, we had a nuisance criminal activity, open burning, sexual harassment and catcalling of women in downtown Binghamton. That is not conducive to a downtown business district, and it's not safe for the people that are living there. I will enforce the law as it relates to illegal encampments. But again, that is not a solution to homelessness to have people living outside in tents.
Thank you.
I agree. No one is pro-encampment, but I am pro-housing solutions. And going after this problem without putting solutions in place is poor leadership. Where did those folks who are at Christ Church go? I'll tell you, I was just talking with librarians yesterday at the Broome County Public Library, and they say many of them have come in there and it's turned into somewhat of a day shelter. Same with the bus station. And that is not because of any other reason than that this administration is not building deeply affordable housing to give some people a place to live. That is what we need to do to solve the homelessness crisis that we're seeing right now in Binghamton.
Thank you.
This is a little broader. What are your solutions to the most persistent housing problems facing residents? And this time we'll start with Mr. Burnett.
Oh, sure. So tackling the housing crisis here in Binghamton is my #1 issue. I believe it is the root cause of so many things that we need to address in the city of Binghamton. If you don't have a safe, affordable place to live, you are going to see education outcomes go down, health outcomes go down, economic decline for folks. It is so vital that we are building more affordable, safe units for folks. We need to bring online more senior housing. I talk with seniors every day as I go door to door that live in these large homes that had multiple children living in it with them once upon a time. And now they want to sell those properties, but they can't find a place to live that will accommodate them and their needs and have wraparound services. That's why my plan is to build over 2,000 affordable workforce and senior housing units in the next 8 years. We also need to revitalize our vacant properties that we see all across our city. And we need to do that by providing down payment assistance programs or grant money to first-time home owners so that they can get in the door to purchase their first home. And then we also need to create grants, rehabilitation assistant grants, to help incentivize developers and individuals who want to purchase a vacant home and fix it up and bring those units online. We also need to revamp our vacant property registry. It used to generate almost $200,000 for the city, and now we are seeing it generate less than $25,000 a year. Those funds would be critical for our city. As we see the federal government rip away CDBG funding, that would be a way that we could invest in our code department and take a proactive code approach to code enforcement in our city and be a partner with developers and make these projects come online quicker. Part of my plan is to streamline the permitting process to incentivize development projects here in the city. Right now, we are not seeing meaningful growth in the housing sector.
Thank you. Mr. Kraham.
So that is just dead wrong. First of all, as it relates to the vacant property registry, we have had more than 1,200 inspections of vacant properties all across the city of Binghamton. The law is on the books. It is being enforced. If making housing and building new housing is going to be a priority over the next 4 years, I think it's important that Binghamton residents elect a mayor who has experience actually building housing. I can point to specific projects that my office and me were intimately involved in, quarterbacking, providing funding for. 200 Court Street, which is opening right now, which provides wraparound services for those facing addiction and those who are veterans, more than 100 units. Town and Country, rehabilitation of probably the worst property in Broome County, more than 250 units that will be for families living paycheck to paycheck. We have Greater Opportunities that has multiple programs to address homeless housing. We have in the project pipeline and serving as the core of our neighborhood and community revitalization plans, affordable housing projects downtown with the YWCA and the First Ward at 187 Clinton Street, the former DMV site, and the Stadium Loft Project. And there are many more on the horizon. We have, in my administration, someone who, and folks that have taken housing so seriously. We're working with state leaders. We're getting low-income housing tax credits. My opponent cannot point to a single housing project in the city of Binghamton that he was involved in that helped create new units of housing. I can point to many, many hundreds of different units. And if we're going to build housing in the city of Binghamton, it's important that the mayor have experience actually doing it. Housing is something that affects quality of life. Affordable housing puts more money in the pockets of families that don't have to pay more than 30% of their monthly income towards rent, and it can unlock the potential of our city. We have to build, build, build.
Thank you.
I'd like to respond.
You'll have 30 seconds.
I asked the people at home who are watching, how many streets do you have to travel down before you see a vacant property? My opponent talks about all these many, many units he's brought online. Are you seeing them? Why are people being pushed out of our community and telling me every day that they cannot find housing? My opponent continues to take credit for projects that he did not quarterback, that were led by the county and the state, and those units are being brought online because of their efforts. He's also bailed out bad actors like Anzaru rather than holding him accountable. He's helped bad landlords do better rather than investing in good landlords in the creation of new units.
My opponent says we need a mayor who's a fighter. Well, we should elect a mayor who's actually been in a fight before. Ask Isaac Anzaru what it's like to battle against Mayor Kraham in the city of Binghamton. We've eliminated him from the housing ownership pool for a period of more than a decade. We have taken him to court. We won. And for a decade, no municipality could solve the issue that was Isaac Anzaru until my administration took aggressive action. We've knocked down his blighted properties, and the families that have been hurt by Isaac Anzaru finally got justice.
Now we'll move on. Oh,
we have one more listener question. The question is, how do you plan to address the problem of negligent absentee landlords? And this time, Mr. Kraham, you can start.
Sure. Shortly after I became mayor, we instituted a first-of-its-kind position at City Hall, a housing code prosecutor position that in my 2026 budget, I added an additional prosecutor position as well as a legal support staff and one more attorney that can support him as well. What they're doing is that code enforcement is not how we actually enforce against bad landlords. That happens in court. That happens through criminal summonses and lawsuits that are in either Supreme Court or in City Court. With this new housing prosecutor, we've brought bad actors to justice. We've issued arrest warrants and brought folks in from out of town. We're getting fines. We're getting, most importantly, compliance. And before that position was created and someone was solely focused on housing prosecution, code enforcement would cite these properties, tenants would complain, and then it would go into court and really into an abyss. We are getting huge legal wins. Our housing prosecutor position has been noticed by the New York Conference of Mayors, and I'm proud that Binghamton is a leader in this regard. We're also utilizing the city's lockdown law, which I reformed shortly after I became mayor, to go after nuisance criminal properties. These are the places that are dealing drugs, that have late night parties, that have a history of nuisance criminal behavior. And we're locking these properties down. We're bringing a quality of life back to neighborhoods and letting bad actors and landlords know that don't want to follow the rules, that you will not be able to do that in Binghamton. As I said, we have fought against these bad actors. We have brought them to court. We've issued arrest warrants for them and are changing housing in the city of Binghamton by taking away these resources that the slumlords have. I said when I was running for mayor, we should treat slumlords like drug dealers because they do the same thing to ruin our neighborhoods. That's exactly what we've done. I'm really proud and glad that Binghamton is getting recognition in that regard.
Thank you. Mr. Burnett.
Yes, absentee landlords, out-of-town landlords that don't care about our neighborhoods are a problem. They're a problem because this administration has not been dealing with the problem in the first place. They have allowed mostly student housing landlords to snatch up all of our available properties and jack up the rents and make the city more unaffordable and not made them pay their fair share. They're paying less in property taxes, taxed as residential properties, than small businesses and homeowners across our city are paying. When they're generating tens of thousands of dollars in revenue a month, they should be taxed as commercial properties and paying their fair share so that we have the tax base increase to provide more services, more grant programs to promote first-time home ownership, more programs to provide rehabilitation assistance grants so that homeowners can make critical investments in their home and increase their property value. He's saying that he's holding absentee landlords accountable, but yet he vetoed good cause eviction, which stood up for tenants and their conditions. You can't play smart and stupid at the same time here. I mean, right now, you should acknowledge that you did not stand up for tenants and you stood against good cause eviction legislation, which is good for good landlords. It creates a robust lease agreement between the tenant and the landlord. That's helpful for landlords. It creates a clear eviction process that is spelled out. So if the landlords need to go to housing court, they have more protection there. And it's a form of proactive code in the first place, making sure that we're getting ahead on repairs before they become so costly and properties slip into ruin. I mean, this administration can talk and talk and talk about how they've been holding landlords accountable, but as I said, they did not hold Isaac Ansrud accountable. They bailed him out. With Town and Country, they bailed out another landlord. I mean, right now, their approach is to just reward the bad guy.
2 minutes. Mr. Kraham, we'll give you 30 seconds to respond.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go against Governor Hochul and the New York State's housing division that's investing in Town and Country, be my guest. I passed landmark legislation to curb student housing and make sure it's not infringing on single-family neighborhoods on the west side and other places. I'm very, very proud of that. Good cause eviction has done nothing but increase rents for families in the city of Binghamton. It's also led to a shortage of mom and pop landlords that are willing to rent to folks like DSS recipients for housing assistance. Good cause eviction has shrunk the housing market. Less people are willing to participate. Why deal with more regulations and rent control in Binghamton if you don't have to and you can go to Johnson City and own a rental property?
That's 30 seconds. Thank you.
Yes, I'd like to respond.
You have 30 seconds.
My opponent says that he's worked to curb student housing in the city of Binghamton. We've seen over 2,000 student housing units come online in the past 15 years, and during this administration, we've seen less than 60 affordable housing units come online. that doesn't look like solutions. That looks like rewarding and profiting off of students rather than helping people in our community. In terms of good cause eviction, I don't want to see good landlords, local landlords, sell off their properties and find out 4 years from now that more absentee out-of-town landlords have taken over these properties. That's why I put forth legislation that would create a study on good cause eviction, and it was passed unanimously.
Thank you. Mr. Burnett, we have to move on to more questions. Thank you. Next, we have a question about education. According to the New York State Department of Education, 77% of students in the Binghamton City School District are economically disadvantaged. The school district also has some of the highest chronic absenteeism in the area, including for elementary age students. What would you do as mayor to help children in Binghamton out of poverty and housing insecurity so that they can stay in one school K through 5? We'll start with Mr. Burnett.
Thank you. Well, you've hit upon it right in the question, right? We need to be building more affordable housing so that students have a place to live and call home that is consistent for them. If they are constantly moving around or finding themselves homeless, they are not going to have the educational outcomes that we are looking for. They are feeling like they are not being invested in. That is the reality. My opponent, with his predecessor, worked to dismantle the Binghamton Youth Bureau. My platform, my plan is to bring back the Binghamton Youth Bureau in collaboration with our incredible community-based organizations and give them the resources they need and bring someone on staff within City Hall to help them with the grant writing process so that they have more resources to deliver and expand the vital programs that they provide for young people. I also plan to create a youth advisory council so that we are listening to the next generation of our Binghamton youth and what they want to see addressed in our community and what programs they are looking for to give them that opportunity. And I think that the city of Binghamton is one of the largest employers in the city of Binghamton. And so my plan is to provide mentorships, apprenticeship programs within City Hall so that young people in our community can get that opportunity and build their resume. And then we can help them with the process of getting a job. And hopefully they stay local because they're seeing so much opportunity for them here. But that hasn't been the case for so long. And there has not been the critical investments that we need in youth services. That's why it's a key part of my platform.
Thank you. Mr. Kraham.
So just really briefly, there's been more than 60 units of affordable housing. There's 100 units coming online right now at 200 Court, so those numbers don't add up. But as it relates to kids, the city opened just a few months ago the first youth recreation center in its history. It's the old St. Mary's Recreation Center. I worked on this for many years to make sure that the city could get that facility up in operation. And what we've seen is a large increase in the number of students participating in our summer fun programs, participating in our youth sports programs. We've made investments in those areas to make sure, too, that kids don't have to pay a dime to play a youth sport or participate in summer fun. One of the things that I'm really proud of is our growth in youth sports, right? We're providing children positive team building activities after school. And again, this youth recreation center will serve as the hub. It was work that we did in conversations with Senator Schumer, getting grant funding to purchase and renovate this building. And the city has never had anything like that before. But when I think about Binghamton's kids, I think about the neighborhoods in which they're going to grow up. We have to make sure that they're safe. We have to make sure that our parks are invested in, that we're adding neighborhood amenities that kids can utilize during the summertime. And yes, the city is one of the largest employers, and we hire a lot of City of Binghamton youth to get their first job, get experience. I'm also been really proud of our investments with Vines and the youth services that they provide on Fayette Street and Susquehanna Street. Youth job programs, Green Corps job programs. We spend hundreds of thousands of dollars every year on youth programs in the city of Binghamton, both working with nonprofits like the Boys and Girls Club and Vines, but also with what we spend on our park system and making sure that youth sports and youth recreation opportunities are top of mind.
Thank you.
From the 19th century through post-World War II, cities prospered with jobs from a single corporation or industry. Do you think that's still a viable economic model? And what's your vision for a thriving economy for Binghamton over the next half century? And we'll start with Mr. Kraham.
Sure. I think anyone who's from the Binghamton area knows the story, right? We put all of our eggs in the IBM basket, and when IBM left, so did generations really of wealth. We have to have a diverse, healthy local economy. I am so proud of my support for small businesses, doing grassroots level neighborhood revitalization, to have a lot of different types of businesses that are creating jobs in manufacturing, other small businesses, retail, restaurants. But we have to remember, too, that the most important institution from an economic development standpoint in really the southern tier of New York, and certainly in Binghamton, is Binghamton University, right? They are the #1 employer. They have just billions of dollars in economic impact. So while I don't believe that we should just cede all economic development control to Binghamton University, and certainly not just the students that are here for just a few years, we have to understand the impact. As Binghamton University grows in ranking and is along with Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and Charlottesville, Virginia, Ann Arbor, Michigan, we should be thinking about that we want a city like those great college towns in America. It means a diversity of options. It means a growth in jobs that don't require a college degree. I'm so proud of even a project we're doing in the First Ward called Firemar. They are converting the old Anatech power plant, a power plant that again was part of that World War II industrial war machine, into a place where energy efficient panels can be made. These are the green jobs of the future. Our Binghamton Local Development Corporation has invested more than $1.2 million in grants and loans to our small business community. Again, we're not putting all of our eggs in one basket. My economic development track record is clear. I'm excited about the $10 million that'll be coming to Clinton Street to support its revitalization. We have to revitalize all commercial corridors and neighborhoods in the city.
Mr. Burnett.
Well, you're talking about job creation here in the city of Binghamton. When I worked at the New York State Senate, we heard from industries all the time that wanted to move to Binghamton to create more good paying jobs right here in our community. But their first question was, where are folks going to live? That's why I believe it is vital that we are also investing in workforce housing, market rate housing, so that we can attract industry to our area and free up our housing stock and give people that opportunity in terms of housing. I also believe that we need to make a much bigger investment in terms of workforce development trainings and providing people with opportunities and connections to our companies that are local and our small businesses. I've been meeting with small businesses, numerous businesses a week, and they tell me the same thing, that they're not hearing or getting a response from City Hall when they reach out, that they feel like they are bringing ideas forward, bringing concerns forward, and they are not being addressed. I don't think it's enough to just activate downtown and parts of the west side. We need to be looking out for every business corridor in our city, the north side, the east side, the south side, the First Ward. We need to be activating them with events and programming that stimulates economic growth. I did this as the executive director of a nonprofit organization that focused on revitalizing commercial corridors by investing in beautification initiatives, public programming, sanitation, and public safety. These are the ingredients we need to be investing in to create holistic growth and economic growth within our city.
Thank you.
Did you have a
Yeah,
rebuttal?
just a quick rebuttal, just
30
in terms of how we're going to rebuild our city with jobs. I've been endorsed by the Binghamton Oneonta Building Trades Council. These are the construction workers, the skilled trade, the folks doing workforce development apprenticeships, and really the folks that are rebuilding not just our city, but the entire southern tier. I'm very excited to have their support. I also think, too, if we're talking about revitalization outside of downtown, I mentioned the Clinton Street Downtown Revitalization Initiative, and no area of the city is getting more attention than the north side of the city of Binghamton, namely redeveloping the Binghamton Plaza.
That's 30 seconds. Thank you.
I would like to note that I've been endorsed by the AFL-CIO, incredible union workers from across our city that focus on education and public employees and labor as well. This administration has had numerous opportunities to support labor in our community, and I'm making the promise here today that once I am mayor, I am going to pass legislation that requires apprenticeship programs within our city contracts, within our construction contracts, so that we are providing more opportunities for union labor in our community.
Thank you. So I think we have a little bit of time for some follow-ups to some of your answers. Celia, I don't know if you, please.
Can I? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the very beginning. The next mayor, whoever the next mayor is, has the opportunity to be involved in selecting a new police chief. As I mentioned at the beginning, the previous police chief, Joseph Zukoski, was in his position for 17 years. But that position is also a civil service position. And I wonder whether, I'd like to know what each of you thinks of whether whether it's good to have a police chief who's a civil service employee versus what some other municipalities do, which is to not have that person civil service, and therefore they, in some cases, are more responsive or more accountable, or there's more transparency. I'm not saying it's a perfect alternative, but do you think civil service is the best way to find the best police chief for the city of Binghamton? And we should start with Mr. Burnett this time.
In terms of choosing the next police chief, I've been very vocal about how I believe that that process needs to be a community-driven process. It should not just be made by one person in City Hall who has a decision to make and that's it. I believe the community and the local stakeholders should be involved in that process so that there is a public vetting of the candidates that we have. We currently have 4 incredible candidates that have taken the civil service exam to be the next police chief. I believe that the public should get to weigh in and have their concerns addressed if we are going to make a real difference in the processes that we have here. Right now, the way we have it on the books as a law is that we do have to use the civil service exam. But if we can work together and that the community thinks that it's a better process to change how we do that, I'm open to listening. I think that the process we have right now works, but I would like to see more people having taken the civil service exam to be the police chief, giving us more options. But I think it's important that the community has a voice. I think that the public needs to have their voice heard in decisions of public safety.
Thank you. Mr. Kraham.
Yeah, so knowing civil service law very well, I think that what you see with commissioner types of positions, that may work in very, very large cities where a police commissioner is not necessarily involved in day-to-day operations or making, criminal justice type of decisions with certain cases or direction. But in cities like Binghamton, I think having a chief of police that is civil service protected is important. It helps insulate that position from political pressures. It means that they are serving the public and the law, not a mayor or a city council. And I think that in Binghamton, that is what works. There's nothing that prevents me as mayor from seeking input from a wide variety of people and making the selection for the next chief of police. Of course, I would want to hear from the community. I would want to hear from people that I trust in the police department and the police union. But I think that what is a slippery slope, and I think the city of Ithaca actually found this out the hard way, is opening up these types of decisions where anti-police activists can get involved. I think civil service and employment law is very, very prescriptive in New York State, and we have to follow a process set by law. That process is a very clear civil service process. I will undergo that process over the next several weeks and months. And I believe firmly that a civil service protected police chief position is the best way to ensure that a police chief does not follow political will, but follows what the law is. I also think, too, that we have to look at policing for the 21st century, and that this is a moment of change for our police department, no doubt. But I'm not afraid of change. I think that we can transition and put the police department in a stronger position it's ever been in before. We will have full staffing by the end of 2026 with this new recruit class, which, by the way, is the largest that it's been in many, many years. The police department is so important, but I'd keep it civil service protected.
Thank you. We have one more question. This is from our survey, a listener submitted this question. Do you support the blue bags for waste collection in the way the system is currently implemented? What can be done to improve it? And we will start with Mr. Kraham.
So one of the things that I've done as part of this discussion about blue bags, and I'm really glad that we announced today that my campaign and my candidacy has received the endorsement of Binghamton sanitation workers. The Teamster Union, the folks that are picking up garbage, that are working on the back of a garbage truck, that are cleaning up trash in our city, have said that I have their support. And by the way, that my opponent's plan to eliminate the blue bags is not well thought out, would lead to more trash in Binghamton, would lead to higher fees for residents, right? These are the folks that actually pick up our garbage. And they don't have to take a political stance, they don't have to stick their necks out, but they are, because my opponent's plan represents something that would be disastrous for the city of Binghamton. It is an environmental problem that the blue bags help solve. The Sierra Club on a statewide level is calling for municipalities to have a pay-as-you-throw system with the blue bags. And my opponents even backtrack a little bit from this blue bag proposal because of, I'm sure, the pushback that he's heard from the sanitation department and residents all over the city of Binghamton. Pay-as-you-throw is the fairest way to do trash collection in the city, and make sure that a grandmother living on the east side doesn't pay the same amount as a frat house on the west side. If you go on vacation a week, you don't have to pay for garbage collection. Oh, and by the way, we offer free recycling collection, free yard waste, and we've reduced the amount of waste that goes to the landfill, saving all of taxpayers allotted money. And also, it's an important environmental issue. Our recycling rate is higher than other municipalities that don't have pay-as-you-throw. It is not a perfect system by any means. I think there's been times where the bag quality has been less to be desired, and we've addressed that with the contractor. But pay-as-you-throw is a fair system, and getting rid of the blue bags, ask our sanitation workers who are actually cleaning up our city. They think my opponent's plan is garbage.
Thank you. Mr. Burnett.
Yes, I support eliminating the blue bags for many reasons. The blue bags are not generating the revenue that we need to cover the cost of sanitation services here in the city of Binghamton. They're generating about $1.5, a little more, million a year in revenue for the city. And then we spend over $300,000 manufacturing those bags at a third-party company well outside of our local economy, giving us just enough money to cover the tipping fee to the Broome County landfill. But to say the cost of sanitation in our city is the cost of the tipping fee is like me saying the cost of my car is the gas that I put in it, right? That does not cover the cost of snow removal and equipment and truck maintenance and gasoline and wages for our workers. Every other municipality has gotten rid of the pay-to-throw model like the blue bags because it does not work, right? We have an obligation to look out for everyone in our city, including the most vulnerable. And the blue bag system is a regressive tax. It disproportionately impacts low-income individuals. If you're a single mom with 3 kids, you are going to have more trash, but that doesn't mean that you have more income. And I don't believe you should have to pay more for a municipal service that's traveling down your road anyway. If you have a small house fire, you don't pay more to the fire department. If you live on a long road, you don't pay more for snow removal. If your kid asks more questions in school, you're not paying more in school taxes. This is the only system in which we approach it, is if you have more of it, you're paying more for it. That is not fair. My opponent says it's good for the environment to keep the blue bags. That's preposterous. We're putting more plastic inside of plastic. That is increasing the plastic output that we have. Not to mention the accessibility issues that come along with the blue bags. There are only a few stores in the city of Binghamton that sell them. And if you're a disabled person or you have transportation limitations or you're a senior, it's even worse. You're forced to use a bag that you could not even lift in that situation. So to me, it's important that we are keeping the services public, but we need to find a better way and involve community
I'll give you 30
input
seconds
to do
to
that.
respond.
So the city charges your water bill based on usage, right? That is something that's widely accepted. My opponent didn't mention that in part of the list of city services. We charge our water bill based on how much you use. We charge our trash based on how much you use. The Sierra Club and environmental activists will tell you that a pay-as-you-throw system reduces waste to our landfill. That's widely known. The last thing I'll say is that, again, this is an individual, my opponent. We've all worked with people like this in different jobs. They come in, they don't talk to the people who actually do the job, and
That's
then act
30
like they have
seconds.
all of the ideas to fix
Thank
a
you,
problem.
Mr. Kraham.
The sanitation workers
Mr.
agree with
Burnett,
me.
you also have one rebuttal left.
Sure. So he's talking about the water bill. Yes, you're paying more for water because you're consuming more of that commodity. But with trash, you're putting trash out or you don't put trash out does not change the fact that the trash services are traveling down your street anyway. It should not change how much you pay for it if you have more of it. Some weeks you have more, some weeks you have less. It doesn't, subsidize anything. In fact, you're double paying. You're paying for these blue bags that go up in cost and down in quality, and then that's not covering the
Thank you.
sanitation bill. So then you
That's
have
all
to
the
have
time
part of
we
your
have.
property taxes cover that.
Thank
bill
you
as
We're
very
going to
much.
move on to closing statements.
Thank you,
right
Celia.
now. You'll each have 2 minutes for closing statements. And based on the coin toss that we did earlier, Mr. Burnett, you'll go first. You can begin whenever you're ready.
Well, thank you so much, Phoebe and Celia and WSKG for hosting this debate tonight. And thank you to everyone who tuned in to hear more about my plans to deliver and fight for the people of Binghamton. My campaign has always been about building a better Binghamton for everyone. I have a diverse professional background and a proven track record of working with community members and building coalition to address serious issues. But my platform is to fight for people by tackling the housing crisis, by strengthening public safety, by expanding youth services and championing our small businesses. But the truth is, change can't wait. We need to act now. I am encouraging people to vote for a leader that listens, a leader with ideas and vision and creative solutions to tackle our biggest problems here in the city of Binghamton. And I invite you to join me, not just with your vote, but in believing in what we can achieve when we work together. The future of Binghamton is not about me, it's about us. And I look forward to working with everyone in our community in a collaborative way to lead our city forward. I encourage you to vote early, October 25th through November 2nd at the Broome County Public Library, and on Election Day, November 4th. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Kraham.
Thank you. I want to thank WSKG, everyone who watched at home. To me, this campaign is a very important choice about who will lead City Hall and really lead residents for the next 4 years. As mayor, I've developed a meaningful, measurable, bipartisan track record just getting things done on behalf of residents. I've been a problem solver, I've been a fighter, I've tried to tackle these generational issues that have long existed in our community, and there hasn't been someone willing to step up to the plate and do something about it. Whether it's going after Isaac Anzerroot, transforming the Binghamton Plaza, or getting railroads to fix up those bridges. I've been taking big swings at big issues, and we've been connecting. The other thing that I'll say is that public safety is and remains the most important issue in this campaign. As mayor, I've delivered results with public safety. We've built back our police department. We've lowered violent crime, and we have a bright future for public safety in the city of Binghamton. The rank and file police officers, our firefighter union, all agree that I'm the only qualified candidate in this race to deal with matters of public safety and lead this city. But it's not just public safety. It's continuing to build more housing. My housing track record is clear. It's continuing to invest in our neighborhoods and improve quality of life, going after slumlords, knocking down blighted buildings, and bringing bad actors into court. That is my track record. And I've also worked to protect seniors and taxpayers by passing balanced budgets, and the 2026 budget calls for slight tax reduction for small businesses as well as residents. I'm Jared Kraham. I've been your mayor these last 4 years. It's been the honor of a lifetime, and I know that we have great challenges ahead, so I'm asking for your vote to continue the momentum that we've seen in the city of Binghamton and continue to take on those big challenges head on.
Thank you both for participating in this debate.
This debate and all our election coverage will be at wskg.org/votes and our YouTube channel.
Early voting starts on Saturday, October 25th. The general election is Tuesday, November 4th. Polls open at 6 a.m. and close at 9 p.m. on Election Day. From the WSKG staff, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And a shout out to everyone at the Binghamton University Watch Party. Thank you. I'm Phoebe Taylor-Vuolo.
And I'm Celia Clark. Good night.